I was on Fremont Street and I overheard somebody point out the horse and rider to their companion. And I had this moment of joy that that sign even still exists. I mentioned this to friends and they all agreed that we should go and visit the Neon Boneyard. Our resident curmudgeon noted that it makes him sad since he can still remember a lot of those signs when they were part of the Vegas landscape. But it's actually rather amazing and uplifting that these signs still exist and were not just scrapped. Brightly lit up signs are so much a part of Vegas that we don't even notice them anymore. That is until you're driving down the 15 and the stadium happen to be playing a particularly annoyingly bright one. But even today, visitors are genuinely amazed at all the lights. Back in the early days of Vegas, it must have been overwhelming. No wonder that Vegas is called the City of Lights and the neon capital of the world. First, the basics. In March to August, the Neon Museum is open only in the evening from 6 p.m. to midnight. From August to March, the museum is open both daytime and nighttime. A daytime ticket costs about $25 and a nighttime ticket $35 for an adult, with a $5 discount if you are a local. Book online. Book before you go. They really do often fill up. In addition to the visitor tickets and their add-ons, the Neon Museum offers wonderful photo packages for photographers and social media creators. You can spend some time there without the crowds and be able to get up close and personal to the signs. They also host over 200 weddings a year. Let's do a little bit of history. Las Vegas locals have been advocating for the preservation of old neon signs since the 1970s. It gathered steam in the 1980s, but it took until 2000 for it to really get going. Luckily, many signs had been stored, many by the city and some others by Yesco, the company that had made many of these signs. The signs currently on display are only a portion of what the museum owns. A big expansion is currently being planned, and the fact that more than 20% of the visitors are Las Vegas locals show just how much support there is locally. The oldest sign on the site is a 1930 sign for the Green Shack. This means that in the not too distant future, that sign will be 100 years old. Signs are constantly being added to the collection because Vegas is constantly being rebuilt. A usual visit to the Neon Museum takes about an hour to an hour and a half. But if you were to read all the information plaques, you could be there for several hours. We planned our visit for right at sunset, and it was perfect. We got to see the contrast between the unlit signs, the start of the twinkling of the lights as the sun slowly set, and then the riot of colors and lights as darkness deepened. The extra $10 was well worth it for an evening visit. I really did like the information that was available. I skimmed many of the plaques of signs that caught my eye. But you could have an amazing visit even if you just enjoy the sights. After all, there are more than 250 signs here, and each of them have a story and a history and a little bit of Las Vegas's heart. Of course, if you want some information and you don't want to read the plaques, there are also some guided tours that you can pay for as an add-on to your visit. Well worth it, because there are just so much information contained within this site. The Neon Museum is not a static display. While visiting the museum and seeing all the signs all lit up is an amazing experience. The real dream is to restore as many of the signs as possible and get them out there again for everybody to enjoy. This has already been achieved with signs like the Horse and Rider, the Silver Slipper, and the Binion's Horseshoe. Personally, I love that the Neon Museum is not just about the more flashy signs. In between the Moulin Rouge and the Palms, there are many smaller and much less famous signs. And the signs on display are just the tip of the iceberg. Only about a third of the signs owned by the Neon Museum is currently on display. I love all the individual letters and could not help but wonder what each and every one of them used to spell out. The staff and volunteers are super enthusiastic and knowledgeable. When one of the volunteers saw that I was spending time looking at the smaller signs that did not have information plaques, they pointed out some other ones to me that they had knowledge about. It's always a good sign when the volunteers are really enthusiastic. It shows that this place runs on passion. And that's very important. So if you have a spare $100,000 or so lying around, you can sponsor the restoration of a sign. But since most of us don't have that, your visit to the Neon Museum helps to pay for the upkeep, and it's really good value for money and just a fun night out, whether you are a local, a resident, or a visitor. The museum visitor center is located in the former lobby of the La Conta Motel. It was remodeled and relocated to this site. They literally cut it up in pieces and trucked it over here. Something marvelous to think. It is marvelous to think that that much work went into retaining this wonderful part of Las Vegas's history. It is truly amazing to see how much of Las Vegas's history is on display. When the Neon Museum first started, it was usually the museum that reached out when a casino or restaurant or other establishment with a sign shut down. Now the opposite is true, and they are high on the list of places to be contacted by many operators and developers who want their signs saved for prosperity. There's a growing understanding that the signs are more than just metal and glass with light bulbs and maybe some neon gas. These signs carry within them the heart and history of Las Vegas and the continuation of this ever-changing town. I highly recommend a visit to the Neon Museum. Make sure your phone is charged because you are going to take so many photos.